This tiny pill in your hand, it took over a decade to reach you. It survived thousands of failed experiments. It cost more money than most countries make in a year. And it almost didn't exist, because before this drug succeeded, 9 others just like it were quietly buried. Here's what nobody tells you about modern medicine. 90% of drug candidates fail, not because scientists aren't smart enough, not because the research is wrong. They fail because the human body is the most complex system in the known universe, and we're still learning its rules. So today, we're going inside the process most people never see. The billion-dollar graveyard of drugs that almost saved your life. Every medicine starts with a single idea. A scientist spots a target. Maybe it's a protein helping a tumor grow. Maybe it's a receptor letting a virus enter your cells. Maybe it's a gene silently triggering disease. The goal is simple: find a molecule that stops it. But finding that molecule, that's where the real challenge begins. Scientists can screen millions of chemical compounds, looking for the one that fits the target like a key fits a lock. Most don't fit, most are eliminated within weeks, but every once in a while, one survives. And it enters a process that will test it in ways no laboratory petri dish ever could. Here's where the first wave of failures happens. A drug can look revolutionary in a petri dish. It destroys cancer cells, it kills the virus, it works beautifully. Then you put it inside a living human body, and everything changes. The drug has to survive stomach acid, navigate the bloodstream without breaking down, reach the exact tissue it's targeting, avoid damaging the heart, the liver, the kidneys, avoid triggering an immune system that treats everything foreign as a threat. And it has to do all of this while still working. Most candidates can't do it. What looked like a miracle in a lab becomes useless or even dangerous inside a real body. Years of work, gone. This stage alone kills the majority of promising compounds. And the ones that survive, they move into a process that is even more brutal. Clinical trials are where most people think the hard part is over. It isn't. This is actually where failure becomes most expensive and most devastating. Phase 1, the safety test. A small group of healthy volunteers receive the drug. Scientists monitor everything: heart rate, blood pressure, organ function, immune response. The question isn't, does it work yet? The question is simple: will it kill you? Some drugs never make it past this stage. Side effects too severe, toxicity too high. The molecule gets shelved sometimes forever. Phase 2, the efficacy question. If the drug clears phase 1, it reaches patients with the actual disease. And now comes the real test. Does it actually work? This is where hope often goes to die. A drug may perform brilliantly in animal models. The theory is solid. The mechanism makes sense. But in real human patients? Nothing. No meaningful benefit. Sometimes even harm. You've now spent anywhere from $50 to $200 million, and you have nothing. Phase 3, the final gauntlet. Phase 3 is the most expensive single event in pharmaceutical science. Thousands of patients, multiple countries, years of data collection. The drug is compared head-to-head against the best existing treatment. This stage alone can cost hundreds of millions of dollars. And even here, after surviving everything, a drug can fail. Maybe it's only marginally better than what already exists. Maybe a rare side effect appears that only shows up in large populations. One unexpected result. One anomaly in the data. A decade of work over. Here's something most people never think about. When a drug costs $2 billion to develop, that number isn't just for the drug that succeeded. It includes every drug that failed along the way. Think of it like this. Imagine a company builds 10 experimental aircraft. 9 of them crash before they ever leave the runway. 1 flies. The total cost of those 9 crashes gets added to the price of the one that survives. That's pharmaceutical R&D. Companies aren't just paying for what works. They're paying for everything that didn't. And they pass that cost forward, which is one reason why new medicines are expensive. It's not just profit. It's the accumulated weight of 1,000 failures. You might ask, if the failure rate is 90%, why does anyone keep trying? Because the 10% that works changes everything. Vaccines that ended epidemics, antibiotics that made surgery survivable. Insulin that transformed type 1 diabetes from a death sentence into a manageable condition. Cancer treatments that gave people decades they were never supposed to have. Every single one of these survived the same brutal process. Every single one was almost buried in a trial that almost failed. The medicine sitting in your cabinet right now isn't just a product, it's a survivor. A molecule that passed every test a hostile biological universe could throw at it. The next time you open a medicine bottle, before you swallow that tablet without a second thought, consider what it actually is. Behind that tiny pill is often more than a decade of research, thousands of failed experiments that had to happen first, hundreds of scientists who spent careers on compounds the world will never know about, billions of dollars invested in things that didn't work, so that this one thing could. In medicine, failure isn't the exception. Failure is the process, and every drug that reaches you is proof that somewhere at the end of that process, persistence wins.